The future is chaos and in a constant state of flux. Our best survival skill is to acquire more skills, to keep moving, evolving. Is South Africa ready to meet uncertainty with flexibility? Adapt or die.
There are a lot of problems that we have in society, and we always think the answer, lies in money, or it lies in something that is far from us.
If you're South African, under the age of 35 and looking for a job, you're in for a tough time. There's 3.3 million youth defined as NEETs, not employed and not in training. Worse yet, they make up an eye-watering 70% of the total unemployed population. That means that there's more jobless young people today than ever before.
The African millennials, far more hungry, faced with so many more challenges, and often have to overcome those challenges through sheer determination and grit.
The nature of what we are trying to fix, the history is very bad, and it is going to take a long time to undo that. And the one big thing about that history was the deliberate deprivation of skills to the large part of the population.
Skills development is a very important part of economic development. Although provision of skills in itself doesn't automatically translate into jobs, but you can't create jobs without skills. You can't grow your economy without skills.
When you look at the issue of plastic pollution, looking at that and saying, there's so much potential, the potential for it to become more than what it is. I started a company with a friend of mine, Rhea, and what we do is repurpose school bags. So this is an upcycled, solar-powered school bag. While a child is walking to school, the solar panel is charging, and when a child gets back home, you can simply take it out, put it on the dryer, and then they can use it as a light to study.
Finding innovative solutions to our unique problems requires skills. The government believes technical and vocational education and training colleges, or TVETs, will bridge the country's skills gap faster than universities. Today, there are 50 colleges like this around the country. Mechatronics is one of the newest courses on offer and high on the scarce skills list.
Mechatronics is simply the combination of mechanical engineering and electronics. We've got motor industry in South Africa which uses a lot of mechatronics.
Okay guys, as you all know that you are our level 4 student, and then next year you will be going to the industries looking for a job. So what I want to know from you today is that, do you feel with the knowledge that you've acquired from level 2 up until level 4, are you ready to give what is required by the companies?
We don't know how much is the need, but there is need for mechatronics in South Africa.
So most companies, when you go and apply, they would ask, what do you know? Do you know mechanical or electrical? But with us, we're doing the combination of the two. So I guess we stand a good chance of being hired.
Certification rates remain low. In 2013, just 33% of students obtained an NCV Level 4 certificate, which is equivalent to a school matric. TVET graduates are also twice as likely to be unemployed compared to their university counterparts. And when they do find work, it's often not in the field that they studied.
When young people enroll in institutions, they are somewhat misinformed about the qualifications that they get. For instance, a young person graduating from an FET college, having studied construction, assume that after level 4 NCV, then they will become a foreman. It doesn't work that way. They have to go through the ranks.
In 1991, there were just over 75,000 students enrolled in technical colleges. Today, there are almost 10 times as many people doing vocational training. But the relationship between industry and the colleges that made the apprenticeships so successful have largely fallen away.
I think the main explanation is we have a very youth-unfriendly labour market. It might even have to do with new forms of racial exclusion, because 99% of students in colleges are African today.
Open your workplaces so that we can expose our youngsters and college lecturers to what is happening in real industry. We've said to the private sector also, we are inviting you to come, by the way, and sit on curriculum committees of your TVET colleges so they can be able to influence the syllabus.
Mechatronics is not well known like other faculties, like as in electrical, mechanical. I feel like we are being sidelined because there's no connection between the Department of Education and the manufacturing industry.
Often the exposure is viewed as an end in itself. But I think we need to be able to say, when students and lecturers have been out there, how do we then integrate the experience into the teaching, into the curriculum, so that you have young people who are more work ready.
Most of the FET lecturers, if you look, they are not qualified teachers. I think that is one of the problems, because you don't know the methods. I think that's what really counts again, the method of giving that information to the learners.
Without that solid basis, employers find themselves having to go and repeat what colleges should have offered in the first place because the quality doesn't match.
If employers are not prepared to employ the trainees when they're finished, then your model's not working.
The call for them to help now to assist government to deliver on this matter is the call that says, don't wait until you are in that bad spot where you are facing a crisis of desperate lack of skills.
We can wait for the education system to be fixed. We can wait for the right partnerships to be forged, and we can even wait for the private sector to jump on board. Or we could start making it happen ourselves.
To make it happen in South Africa, the land of opportunity, is really about attitude. You've got to be courageous, you've got to persevere, but you've got to have a great attitude at all times. Attitude will get you everywhere in South Africa.
That's how Generation Flux thinks. The term, coined by Fast Company magazine, does not refer to a particular age group, but rather a mindset. Human chameleons, learning from anywhere, seeking solutions and not sorrows, embracing change.
Flux is an attitude. It's a fluidity with the conditions that you find yourself in and the attitude of possibility that comes with every moment in time as you're going through that flux, the ups and the downs of life.
And when Flux minds partner up, nothing is impossible. The future is collaboration. Enactus is a global organization that connects students, academics, and business leaders. They come together to improve lives in the community through the power of entrepreneurship. Operating in 36 countries with 1,600 universities on board. One of them is the Vaal University of Technology.
There's a lot of mountains of duff in South Africa that is polluting our air and our water. So instead of leaving those duff unattended, we decided to solve the problem. This process is a waste management, collecting waste instead of leaving the waste to pollute our air and our water and our trees.
The inspiration has come from the individual. It needs to be monitored. It needs to be identified that this individual has huge entrepreneurship skills, and it's a partnership. So whether it's a partnership between just the community member, the Enactus team, as well as corporate out there, it's about the individual projecting him or herself, that I'm an entrepreneur in the making. Please help me.
It was done by our forefathers, and even our people are doing it for self-sufficiency.
Once eNCA collects the coal dust, it's mixed with clay and water to form organic coal. It's smokeless and provides long-lasting heat, an affordable alternative energy.
One of the problems that we identified with her ways of creating the coal is that she utilizes her hands. Her hands actually tear up from using without gloves. That's how we got in contact with TTI, Technology Transfer Innovation, at EduCity in Vaal University of Technology.
So you can see that the challenges with the hand, the sizes are not the same. They were able to design and make a prototype machine.
And I think that's where, as Enactus, it's identifying that talent, getting the corporates involved, and really making that success that the person deserves.
This machine here is a press tool machine that molds the duff briquettes to the shape that eNCA wanted. And this is what you would get from the press tool machine. This one is a tumbler. It's going to help us to see how much of the briquette crumbles away as it's being transported to the various supermarkets.
If you look at social entrepreneurship, it's being innovative. It's looking at great ideas to really make a greater social impact. It's not about making a profit. It's about uplifting people socially.
Social entrepreneurs aim high to solve society's major problems of education, poverty, healthcare. They're constantly working in diverse groups, networking and sharing ideas. Information wants to be free. Traditional businesses are now catching on to the idea of big picture thinking.
Historically, we used to use information as a mechanism or a leverage for power, and I think that in today's day and age, it's not the information economy, but the experience economy that we're having. The concept of sharing what would be known and understood as intellectual property is an old form of what would be termed copyleft. A lot of it's been done in coding and programming.
Tesla pioneer electric cars, but they can't grow unless the entire battery-powered car industry develops. So they're sharing knowledge to increase their market share at virtually no cost to the company.
And that's what copyleft really stands for. So it broadens the base of ideas, it increases the opportunity for innovation, and allows us to progress significantly faster than if we were to keep that IP to ourselves.
A great example of a solution from a collective base is the Vula app. Meet the ophthalmologist who stepped beyond the world of medicine. He took a sabbatical and, guided by developers and entrepreneurs, designed software that is not only helping to prevent blindness, but is now a registered business.
One of the major problems in South Africa is there are a few specialists, but not very many, and often they're in the tertiary centres and cities, and there are not very many specialists in rural areas. So what we're trying to do is put people in rural areas, or doctors and health workers in rural areas, directly in touch and get instant opinions from specialists who could be anywhere in the world actually, but generally in South Africa or in urban centres.
Morning, Mrs. Kagwe.
Morning, doctor.
What's the problem with your eyes today?
I can't see clearly, and sometimes they are itchy.
When did this problem start?
I think it's almost a year now.
Okay.
I can look at both eyes and see what she's done. What we can do with this particular patient is that we can reply saying it's not an emergency, but it is important that we review her to see if we can help solve her vision problems. Most people will only have a cell phone. They won't have special tools at their disposal. So let's use what people have got at the moment rather than trying to invent new technology they'll have to buy in 5 years' time. This has saved the patient a trip to Tygerberg and back. Over time, many people will start to test their own vision. For example, using the app as it is, any member of the public can test their family member's vision. Because they're not registered health professionals, they can't make the referral, but perhaps in the future that sort of thing will start to happen. South Africa is a unique place because you've got sort of a mixture of sort of first world technology and then third world problems. There's a gap in the market and we go for it. So I think it's a nice place to be a young person trying to do stuff.
Finding a gap in the market, an ophthalmologist with the vision of an entrepreneur.
It's a type of mindset that always says, we can do this, we can overcome that particular challenge because we're looking for the solution and we know that it exists.
Today, 90% of jobs are being created in the informal and SMME sector, but yet entrepreneurship is still not part of the school curriculum. Entrepreneurial classes are offered sporadically in South Africa by people with the passion and the foresight.
An entrepreneur is someone who's able to spot opportunities by simply paying attention to what's going on around them. What I'm doing is I'm giving them some random objects and they've got to come up with a brand new use for them. It doesn't have to be what it is. It's a creativity, innovation exercise for them to take something that is and to transform it into something that can be. Taking existing ways of doing things and just making it more efficient, making it more cost effective, giving the customer a better experience.
Take Uber. Taxis have always been around, and so have cell phones, but creating an app that uses your location and logs your credit card payment details gives commuters a fresh transport experience.
Researching the cost of induction charges. Only learners who attend the more affluent schools will have access to this program. You've got to create platforms that are accessible by all learners.
Ross is cutting his own FutureFit path by turning his passion for art into a profit.
Oh, I've just finished class. Right now I'm standing outside my little workshop here and I'm busy sanding down the fine edge of a blade I'm working on. My core business has always been sort of metalwork oriented. Making knives and swords is the primary activity, but I make rings and little trinkets and stuff like that.
Opportunities are now opening up for young artisan entrepreneurs. In response to mass production, consumers now yearn for something that is custom-made, unique and personal. And yet, the average age of an artisan in SA is 55.
Produce as many electricians, plumbers, welders, tool makers, machinists. You are also producing people who can be able motor mechanics to start their own business, who can be entrepreneurial.
Yeah, this is the room where we manage the selection. We'll get 10 to 40 applications a day, and this team here will manage those applications. Not just the first application that comes through. It's, we're looking for the right people to come through. What you're seeing in here is guiding going on. So we don't use the methodology of mentorship. She will not ever tell him what to do. Today, the youth, if they stay in a job for 2 years, it's a long time. They're looking for their own meaning, their own journey, and they don't want to be part of some other big corporate journey. Entrepreneurship gives them the ability to evolve their own story.
If you're going to work for yourself, if you're going to find a career where you're your own boss, then you also have to be your own policeman or your own master. Well, I'm Sven, I'm a violin maker. Although here in Johannesburg it's not so much being a violin maker as it's being a violin mechanic, or you could call it a violin grease monkey or a violin wood monkey. If you want to get into violin making, you must enjoy your geometry and your mathematics. You must have an eye for architecture and structure. There's a lot of art, there's varnish, there's chemistry. I find reward in figuring out how to regulate all those irregularities so that with a tiny little adjustment, oh, it sounds like another instrument. Much better, huh?
Yes.
There you go. To be able to do that, yes, that's very fulfilling stuff. People have come to me and asked me, will I please show them how? And I'm sure, you know, I didn't train to be a violin teacher, but I'll tell you what, if you want to, you're welcome to come and I will show you what I can, and I will try and make sure that you stay within the traditional ways of doing things, given that I am rather adventurous in finding new ways of doing the same thing over and over.
Mentorship is important because it's the responsibility of anyone who's gone through life and had many experiences to share that knowledge and experience with people who are younger and who don't need to make the same mistakes as they did.
No one could write a roadmap for a Flux Generation's career, at least not Sven. Right now, he's preparing to hit the road to PE to train a new class of luthiers.
Morning guys. I see you guys' passion is beginning to grow a little bit.
Sven was invited to train Simzuzile and Timbeka by the Eastern Cape Philharmonic Orchestra. In 2002, with the help of lottery funding, it started a project that could offer those stuck in poverty alternatives through the power of music.
The most important resource for an entrepreneur is the ability to reach out to somebody else, be vulnerable to them, and reach out for assistance and for guidance, for input into how to make certain decisions.
Remember guys, the purpose of this exercise is all about taking you guys from where we left off last to becoming entrepreneurs. If I can be an inspiration to myself, then I can be an inspiration perhaps to others. In their growing, they also get to grow their community.
Today's young entrepreneurs are not only reaching out to their seniors for counsel, but to their peers too, and even their competition. And that's what's happening here at the Hookup Dinner, where solar backpack maker Tato is a regular. This networking initiative gives startups from across the country a platform to connect, engage, and contribute to each other's success.
Because as an entrepreneur, you can never be in one space and be comfortable, but you always have to press forward, get to hear how other people are thinking.
But tonight is no ordinary business card swapping session.
So we decided to disrupt the tendering process by getting them to develop a prototype, to develop an online community management system, and we're giving out a contract of 100,000 Rand. And this is about crowdsourcing talent and getting the best people to get the job. The goal is to create a pipeline of 1 million African startups that are trading, that are investable, that are active, that are live, and that are doing business.
Before they die, it's everyone's dream to work for themselves and to get a big investor to buy into their vision. But the fact of the matter is, 5 out of 7 entrepreneurs that start a business will go under in the first year. Failure is part of the journey. Take Elon Musk's SpaceX program, which has had numerous failures recently. What will differentiate them is their ability to get up and start again.
To be future fit, you're going to have to be someone who adapts, has the right attitude.
You've got to have guts.
I see the entrepreneur of the future as somebody who has opportunity eyes and opportunity feet.
You need to teach people how to think. You need to teach people how to analyze.
Those that cannot learn at a quicker pace, I think, are going to be relics of the past.
You don't want to fail, but at the same time, if you did fail, it's not the end of the world for you. You'll start again.
And I would encourage people out there that believe they have the entrepreneurship skills to really take that leap of faith and really get out there and make a difference.
If there's one thing that we as South Africans know, it's change, thanks to the social innovators who came before us. But we can't remain nostalgic about our past. We need to keep moving with a new kind of openness and revolutionary spirit that welcomes chaos as an opportunity for more growth and learning. Either that, or we will be rendered irrelevant in a world that is global, social, and interconnected. Adaptability equals future fit.